We have joining us from Abuja studio, the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Sani Usman. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and it's good to have you because we'll be hearing from the horse's mouth considering this issue of monkeypox, forced vaccinations by the Nigerian military. Clarify the situation for us.
Well, once again, thank you so much. In the first place, there is nothing like that at all because it is true, yes, we have been carrying field training exercise. For instance, we have had exercise Egweke in the southeastern geopolitical zone and some part of Cross River State. There wasn't anything like that. Right now, we have exercise Crocodile 6 and 81 Division of the Nigerian Army, which cut across the southwest and south-south geopolitical zones of the country. We don't have anything like that. All we had was more or less medical outreaches here and there, and of course there is no vaccination whatsoever.
All right. In this case, let me ask, for parents who had to act swiftly, although based on rumors, but based on the scare of the monkeypox, would you blame the parents for acting so fast and so swiftly to withdraw their children from the schools?
Not at all. You know, every parent has a responsibility to safeguard and to ensure the well-being of his child or whatever the case may be. I would rather, if you are talking about blaming, we blame the mischievous and wicked element behind such rumors in the first place. And we begin to wonder why do they come up with such inhuman rumor, you know, causing general panic and misunderstanding among the public. But the truth is that, you know, whoever is behind it definitely will soon be apprehended and will face the full wrath of the law. But that notwithstanding again, I think it's about time that we should always critically examine things when they come to us, especially issues that had to do with rumor, especially on the social media. Take, for instance, where they started it all, in River State, that time exercise Crocodile Smile has not even started in the first place. It was much later that we started the exercise, so there was nothing like that at all. Then secondly, even at that, when they said they have seen group of soldiers with uniform and all the rest, up to this moment I'm talking with you, there is no single person that could clearly tell you which school and when. So I think it's about time that we should critically examine. We don't take things on their face values, and that is where people like you come into play, that you have to investigate properly to find out whether such information is true or not, and how do we handle it. I was so glad yesterday when I had the Honorable Minister of Health was saying that the media has a critical role to play. Take, for instance, even the images of the so-called monkeypox patients. What we have on the social media or what we have on the media up to now was not true reflection of those victims of those diseases. They just Googled some image and pasted it, and it was so scary and uncalled for. I think it's about time that we should be critically examining things. And secondly, the Nigerian Army has been involved in humanitarian activities, not just medical outreaches. We have been involved in infrastructural development, you know, provision of water, you know, boreholes, provision of teaching aids in schools. Just like we had yesterday in Iboke, Eche community, in Eche local government area of River State. You know, things have been going on well. So why should somebody mischievously ascribe things to people, to organization, to a credible institution that is sacrificing its life and all it has in the defense of the territorial integrity of this country and its well-being in line with the constitutional provisions?
All right, of course, we'd like to find out from you if you are doing anything to unravel those behind this hoax. But you mentioned earlier about medical outreaches, which the military does carry out from time to time. Is there any going on presently, and what does it entail?
Yeah, right now, we have one going on, just like I mentioned, in Ivo Eke community, Eke local government, in Rivers State. In fact, it was supposed to have been a one-day affair, but because of popular demand on the part of the community, it has been extended till today, 20th of October. And I can rest assure you, right now, a lot is being done in terms of the medical consultation, dispensation of drug. And they will continue like that. And apart from that, there are other formations that will continue to carry out their routine humanitarian interventions in the course of exercise Crocodile Smile. We will not give in to miscreants and misfortune merchants that want to, scare the Nigerian society.
What does the medical outreach entail, the one that's going on in Rivers State? And is it only in Rivers or in other states, especially these states where people have been running helter-skelter, taking their kids out of school?
Well, it is not just the River State. It is ongoing in various areas. Take, for instance, covering the southwest and south-south. And what I want you to understand, we just don't carry out medical outreaches just like that. It is as a result of procedures and consultations, particularly with the host community and the stakeholders. And it will continue like that. And coming back to our questions about what does it entail, there are a lot of, medical aspect that is entails. First and foremost, there are consultations, there are dispensation of medication, issuance of treated mosquito nets, and laboratory, investigations, as well as dental issues. But basically, there is nothing, absolutely nothing about vaccination. We have never been involved.
Right. Now, under ideal circumstance, if, excuse me, if the military, even if it is heard that the military is carrying out vaccination, it should be a thing of joy under ideal circumstance. But in this where it has gone the other way around, does it come to you as somewhat a disconnect between or distrust between the people and the military as an institution?
Exactly. Actually, you have some criminal elements in the society whose criminal activities were terminated by the lawful activities of the military. So in order to get back to damage the reputation and the image of the military, they decided to come out with this wicked rumor. And unfortunately, it backfired because eventually the truth had been unraveled. The people were quite conscious now of the fact that it is what it is, rumor. And falsehood does not stand the test of time, really.
Okay, so how do you plan to restore this trust that seems to be missing in the populace, trust in the populace for the Nigerian military? How do you hope to restore that?
Well, you are talking as if there is no trust between the Nigerian populace and the military. Far from it. Right now, as I'm telling you, in the same River State where this mischief emanated, medical outreach is ongoing. So automatically, you see that trust is also there. It's just that we are not resting on our oars. We will continue to enlighten the public. We will continue to interface with the relevant stakeholders to ensure that such mischiefs are nipped in the bud before they cause more harm in the society. And we take several steps, one of which is myself being here. And I'm sure at the various departments, chains of command of the Nigerian Army, the various commanders have been interfacing with the various stakeholders, either the ministries, parastatals, community leaders, or even government officials at the various levels.
All right. Now, you mentioned miscreants, criminals, people who have been dismissed from the service being behind some of these rumors and all of that. Is that to say that the military actually knows where this rumor is coming from?
I did not say people who were out of service. I described them as criminal elements. But if you want me to elucidate, you should know, given the trends of things happening, there are people who have certain vested interests in the, the security of this country, negatively, so to speak. And unfortunately, their, objective couldn't have been realized because of the activities of the military. So they decided to embark on campaign of calumny against the military. But unfortunately, it has backfired because the public are now wiser.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, talk to us about the launch of Operation Crocodile Smile 2. You launched, I think it's about a week now. How is it going so far? What are the discoveries you have made so far? Can you enlighten us on the successes so far and the challenges maybe?
You are quite right. Last week, Friday, it was launched in 81 Division area of responsibility, particularly its tactical headquarters at Takwa Bay Island. Right from that very day, it has been, achieving tremendous result in the sense that because it's amphibious in nature, the troops involved in the field training exercise are gradually being proficient in the act of internal security. And of course, the jointness of that internal field training exercise is marvelous in the sense that all other security agencies are being involved, particularly the other services of the armed forces. And just like it was stated, it could transmute into real-time operations, particularly, the issue of militants that have been disturbing those parts of Lagos, Ondo, and other parts of, the riverine communities. And a lot have been discovered, a lot of people have been arrested, and of course syndicates peddling drugs and of course kidnapping people have been arrested.
All right, let me ask you a very naive question that the ordinary Nigerian would want to ask. How do you come up with these names, Operation Crocodile Smile, Operation Egweke or Python Dance, Operation Lafia Dole? What exactly, how do you brainstorm to come up with these names?
Actually, code names and nicknames in the military, they are part of military training exercises and part of military operations. You get two words to describe a particular operations or field training exercise, and basically you brainstorm, you come up with a catchy word that has to do with the particular aspect. Take for instance, initially Operation Lafia Dole was Operation Zaman Lafia, but when the President Chief of Army Staff came on board in July 2015, he said, look, we have been talking about Zaman Lafia, which literally in Hausa is peaceful coexistence, but we realized that Boko Haram terrorists, they are no longer interested in peaceful coexistence, so we should impose Lafia, coexistence on them. That is why in Konduga particularly, I could remember 103 Battalion when we went, I think either 18th or 19th July or there about 2015, it was changed from Zaman Lafia to Lafia Dole, which bring in a new vigor and sense of enthusiasm on the part of the troops, and of course the results are there for everyone to see. The same thing when you come back to Northwest geopolitical zone. We started with Shirin Harbi, which literally translated preparing to shoot, but eventually it's transmuted to exercise Harbin Kunama, which automatically means scorpion sting. And we have had Operation Crocodile Smile. Basically, hence it was a maritime or amphibious oriented operations. You come up with crocodile, and crocodile is associated with such an environment. What live or take or leave, how do you see a crocodile smile? Definitely, possibly it could be achieving its aim. That is why it is smiling. The same thing with Python dance. Basically, if you know.
All right.
So
Okay.
it's so funny to you, actually, but it has a lot of connotation and meaning. Well, I can go on with Python dance. Actually, Python, in any case, if you remember, in the southeastern part of the country, the most prevalent security concern was the issue of kidnapping. But how does you, how do you bring in something that is symbolic that can deal with such security situation? Hence the nickname of the operation or exfil training exercise, Python dance. But of course, being a responsive organization, when we had the Python dance one last year, a lot of feedbacks were received, and the people said, look, how do you have Harbin Kunama in the other parts of the country? Why don't you have the nickname also reflecting the geopolitical zone under which you operate? Hence, we decided this year to call it Egweke, and when you translate Egweke, it means the same thing, Python dance. But unfortunately, typical creativity of Nigerians, they view it from various perspectives. But honestly, it means no harm. But a kind of thing for people, particularly troops in exercise, to identify with, without too mumuch grammar or dogon turenchi, so to speak.
All right, General. Yeah, General, before we let you go, certainly, there are so many reactions from people, especially with the launch of Crocodile Smile 2, where it is meant to ensure a kick against kidnapping and other issues within. They're saying that it is usurping the roles of the police. Is it the failure of the police and other security agencies that made you launch this, when it's not necessarily, again, talking about the integrity of the country?
Not at all. Rather, it complements. One thing people don't understand is that all the things that we do is a collective responsibility, and part of the objective of that exercise is to ensure synergy of efforts among the armed forces and, of course, the security agencies in the country. All these activities that are going, possibly if you can recall the tapes of launching and subsequent operation, you will see the other security elements. Take, for instance, we have the police, we have the civil defense, we also have the National Drug Law Enforcement Agencies, and of course the Department of State Services. Everybody is being brought on board. And remember, the essence of all this field training exercise is to ensure proficiency as part of the constitutional provisions, where the military will come in aid of civil authority, apart from the defense of the territorial integrity of the country. Look at Section 217 up to Section 218 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic. So when you look at it, when the military is called upon, how do they synergize? How do they key in? So what is the relationship between them and the other security agencies? This is what is being put into practice in case if sins occur. It could be even disaster management, not necessarily physical security, just like what we are having.